Yeah, let's sit down.
M.Arch.
So the rules of this, Andrew, is that we assume that the camera does not exist.
Yeah.
And we're just like talking.
Okay.
Do you have a hard stop?
No.
Fantastic. So to start, because I have billions and billions of followers,
Yeah.
we need to a little bit tell them what you do. Like, what does Andrew Clum do?
Yeah. So
ahead.
I'm an architect,
Mm-hmm.
urban designer.
Okay.
Myself and my business partner have an architecture firm that we're in
Okay.
our office right now.
Yes,
We also-
What's the name of the firm?
Overhead Studio.
Overhead Studio. Okay.
We also have a publishing and digital media company called Underwater Publishing.
Underwater.
Yeah.
One is overhead and the other is underwater.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
That was the intention. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you do media stuff.
Yeah. We're slowly.
You publish books and things like that.
Yeah.
You do it from the same place, or you have different offices?
Same office. Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
office.
We don't have two separate ones yet.
One from Overhead Studio and one from Underwater.
Yeah.
Underwater. Okay. Okay, interesting. So
I'll have to give you a T-shirt at the end. We have
Oh,
T-shirts
really?
for the publishing company. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice because I will send you a T-shirt also for Welcome to America, Habibi.
Oh, nice.
And the question is, why is it called Overhead Studio?
Yeah. Well, in architecture and design, what is overhead is shelter. That's kind of the most fundamental part of architecture is the roof.
Okay.
We think about overhead and what is overhead. And also, we do a lot of urban design and master planning.
Okay.
I mean, you see, like a lot of the projects that we've done are planning from overhead. So
shit.
we plan from overhead. We design what is over your head,
Okay.
and then also
I thought overhead like the money.
that's the last part.
Oh, there is a.
That's it's not on our website. It's more of an inside joke for ourselves.
Okay.
But yeah, as two young professionals that never went to business school and were never trained,
Okay.
we're constantly thinking about the business side that we were never taught.
Sure.
So the part of the idea behind overhead is that there's some sort of collective, as we start working with other people and as we, go out and collaborate more, thinking about the corporate structure that we have,
Okay.
and how we can innovate as opposed to the typical hierarchy. We're kind of focused on that too.
Okay.
There was a book that I read that was from like the late 90s about the gig economy.
Okay.
And that was kind of fundamental in that naming too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The overhead.
Yeah.
Like the overhead, like the fixed price of running the business.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And why do you say you are an urban planner? What is urban planning, and why do you say you are an architect in urban planning?
Right. Yeah. I guess another thing that I forgot to introduce about myself is that myself and my business partner Chris D'Amico, we both teach at the University of Miami.
Oh, okay.
And that's where we met.
You met him in school.
Yeah. And the architecture program there stands out from other architecture undergraduates in the sense that at University of Miami, they start off with teaching the students how to design cities, thinking about buildings as parts of cities, towns, rural landscapes.
Interesting.
Always thinking about buildings within their context because
it's like part of the program for everybody.
Yeah. It's everyone has to do it. Everyone starts off. One of the first things that I did, which is the bottom one over there, you make a map of your hometown. And so this is one of the first things. They've done this for the last 30 years. It's fundamental to the school.
So you did that, or you took it from somebody?
I made that, yeah.
You made that drawing, the one in the white frame on the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Looks like an old drawing.
Yeah. I took some elements from older maps and tried to make it.
Okay.
The funny thing is I'm from Boca Raton.
Okay.
So not an old city. And
not an old city at all.
Part of the joke is
making it look old.
Yeah.
How old is Boca Raton?
Oh, it was, I don't know when it was incorporated, maybe like the 1920s.
Okay, so that's not very old.
Yeah. But it did not expand the way it has now until like the 70s.
Now it's like crazy.
Yeah. It's all the way to the Everglades.
But these days it's crazy. It's so much traffic.
Yeah.
My uncle lives there. He's complaining. I was like, come to Miami. You can complain. You can complain there.
But yeah, the reason I was talking about the university is because that focus on
it's not a focus, but they make sure that every student goes through this, or how? What do you mean it's a focus?
It's different from other architecture schools. You pretty much always have a semester in urban design.
Okay.
As an architecture student.
Okay.
Which usually undergraduate you're not doing that.
Okay.
And so our educational upbringing and our roots as a firm are architecture tied with urban design.
Urban design.
And you probably know from working at the construction company that architects often are driven by their own kind of ego or design.
Don't say
like that. Imprint that they want to put on the world. Yeah, I can make fun of myself. I'm an architect.
Ego? Oh.
Yeah.
So they're driven by their ego. You mean? What do you mean? Like they want?
There's a lot of.
They only want that building to look good without like looking what it makes it at its surroundings, or what do you mean? They have an ego, because we know they have an ego. But
I think there's the way the system is set up right now.
Okay.
In the art world, it's like this too.
In the art world.
Yeah.
Okay. Because architecture has an art piece in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very related to the art world, especially in education. There's this problem that you have where if you want to become famous before you die, many architects and artists become famous after they die.
After they die. A lot of artists too.
Many
artists. Many artists.
So the advice that people are given, and the very standard way of doing things, is you have to always be thinking about branding.
Okay.
And aesthetic branding, I think, is an enemy of creativity.
Aesthetic branding. Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, as a creative. You know, Zaha Hadid. You think about her buildings; they have these curves, and they have a.
So now they are bound.
Aesthetic.
So it's like now she is bound to this look. That's the aesthetic branding you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
So there's a lot of lack of attention paid to context, towards function.
Okay.
Towards many things that a building really needs to do, and it's very important because of not necessarily to the fault of the person who's trying to make it big.
Okay.
But as an artist, as an architect, you're sort of driven to having common aesthetic moves, and that can be all that you think about. That could
really
be, how do I?
That's the driving thing.
Yeah.
It drives everything else.
Yeah.
So the aesthetic branding drives their design.
Yeah, and I think that can be an issue.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So for an architect, what, like you said some key words here. For an architect, what is like functionality of the building, the look of the building? What else architects care about? Because there's a lot of people who are not architects who don't know.
Yeah.
What is it that they care about other than the functionality and the look?
Well, one of the things that surprises people when I tell them how much education it requires, you need a minimum of 5 years.
Yes.
You need I think it's over 3,000 hours working for another architect.
To get your license.
Yeah, and you have to pass 6 tests.
3,000 hours.
Yeah.
How many years is that?
It's like 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
But usually, because they're in 6 separate categories of hours, sometimes it takes people 5 or 10 years to get all their hours.
All their hours.
Appropriate categories.
Oh, wow. What are the categories?
Construction administration, construction documents, project planning and design.
So you cannot have all your hours in project planning and design.
Right.
You have to get the other.
Your employer, who's a registered architect, has to be able to say.
And that's in the States.
Categories. Yeah, in the United States.
Is the license different in different states, or everything is the same in America?
It's become more cohesive. If I want to get licensed anywhere in the U.S., I just pay a fee, and there's reciprocation between the states.
Okay.
So I have to keep an active license.
But the
except
exams,
for California.
Except for California. Okay. But the exams and number of hours, all these are very similar.
Yeah.
In different states. Okay, sorry. So you were saying about how hard it is.
Yeah.
How much education.
It takes a long time. It always surprises people. Like, oh, I didn't know that.
They think they fucking just throw something.
But I say this. It's a dark joke, but doctors can only kill one person at a time.
Okay.
Architects can kill many people.
Many people after that.
So number one has to be safety.
Okay. Oh, number one has to be safety. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
You don't want your building to fall down on people. You don't want people to get caught in a fire.
Okay.
So that's number one.
Okay, so that's important. It's not like only the building falling, is that people don't get stuck in the building, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. So safety is one.
I was listening to a podcast last night that actually talked about how fire departments now, they almost never fight fires.
Okay.
It's like 3% of their calls are fighting fires.
Everything else is planning beforehand.
Yeah, and emergency medical services and stuff. Because buildings now are built so fireproof.
Fireproof.
Electrical systems are better.
Yeah, they stop things. There's fire, I see. Interesting.
But there's a dichotomy where buildings are built stronger, better, safer.
Okay.
But they're also built more expensive now.
Much more expensive.
Yeah. So people talk about housing crisis.
Yes.
Affordability. And that's the trade-off, you know? People used to be able to live very, very cheaply. But
you think that's only because of that?
It's part of it.
Yeah, it's part of it, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think also there is like the business side of it. These big corporations buying a lot of a lot of houses. They're playing a business game.
Yeah, demand.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so safety. What else?
Safety.
You guys care about as architects?
Function, efficiency, cohesion, beauty, durability.
Durability too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Because a building that lasts a very long time, like the building that we're sitting in, it will probably last another 100 years.
Yes, it will build.
It's sitting here for 98 years.
It will build the charm and then historical.
Yeah, there's an aesthetic quality to age.
Yes.
There's also a sustainability quality to age too, where there's a phrase in the architecture community that's the greenest building is the building that's already built. So.
Because you already built it, you don't need to go into why they say that? Like, I'm trying to understand why.
Because if the building already exists, you're not using resources producing carbon
to build a new one.
To build a new one. Yeah.
Okay. So they want to keep the building as long as possible.
Ideally, if the building is a good one, it's also a flexible one. So
flexible one.
Yeah.
To change like that its use.
This building used to be the headquarters for Florida Power and Light for like 30 years.
Wow.
They were like 40% of this building was just Florida Power and Light. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And then they left.
They left.
Yeah. Did you know when they left?
No, I don't. I know someone who did some research and wrote a history for the company. He was telling me. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Now, in urban design, you care about the same stuff you care about when you're designing a building?
Yeah. Maybe my answers are more of the answers of a typical urban designer as opposed to a typical architect.
Why?
Because kind of what I had described before, trying to zoom out and see cities as what produces the best city. You have a different lens from, and it's not just an urban thing. What produces good cities, good towns, good rural landscapes, all of it. You know, it might not be the same thing as someone who's in the specifics of what produces a good building. The same way that an electrical engineer will not see a building the same way that an architect does.
Definitely.
Because they're on a specific piece of it.
Yes.
So as an urban designer, I think about the public realm a lot.
Around the city, around the building.
Yeah, civic spaces. How was the walk here?
Was
it okay?
Here, I was so lucky I found the parking spot.
Yeah, so you got close.
I was so lucky. I parked very close.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the city of Miami? That they are doing good job as urban design? Do you like the new arc? There's so many questions. The new arc, they are making this arc.
Oh, the highway.
There's like an arch.
They're building a suspension bridge over land, which is crazy. I think they're spending $3 billion on it.
Really?
7-year-long project. Yeah, to redo that highway.
$3 billion to build the bridge.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do you think about the city of Miami? Do you think that we are doing a good job from an urban planning point of view?
No.
No. Okay.
I think the people in the city of Miami are doing a good job.
What does that mean?
Economics of the city of Miami are very good. But the city has a history of when the city was founded.
You wrote a book about Miami, a couple of books.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you. Okay.
Yeah. When the city was founded, it was founded by a guy, Henry Flagler, who just wanted this city as a stop on his railroad down to Key West. Miami was supposed to be a minor city that was smaller than Key West. Originally, they wanted to name it Flagler after him.
Okay.
It was supposed to be, Palm Beach, Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. These were all just supposed to be small stops on the way to Key West.
What did he do in Key West?
I forget if it's called the 7 Mile or the 9 Mile Bridge, but that was the world's longest bridge at the time to get you down. But
why did he want Key West? Like, why was this like close to South America?
He, I think he was captivated by the history. Hemingway, the poet, was in Key West, and there are so many famous figures. It has this mystical kind of pirate Caribbean history to it. Yeah.
So Miami was a stop.
Miami was supposed to be a stop on the way.
So Key West just supposed to be the city?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And so Miami was not planned out to have a very good public realm. There's not that many. We have parks, but it's not like a parkscape.
What do you mean?
So if you go to Chicago, if you go to other cities that had a very heavy planning aspect to them, they have a system that you can kind of walk through and you can see the whole city.
Yes.
Miami lacks public space, and many of the spaces that we perceive as public are not.
Like what?
If you used to go out in Wynwood, all of those spaces that people perceived as public, like Wynwood walls, outdoor spaces.
Oh, I see.
That people congregate. The Wharf used to be a place that people go out to.
Yes.
It's a private development. It just happens to be outside.
Okay, so so people thought these are public spaces.
Yeah, and a lot of the landmarks and quote civic life and public life that we have,
it's not really public.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so that is my critique of Miami. Is more of a critique of its history.
It was not meant to be a big city.
Yeah, and so there was a lack of planning. People just looked at the ocean and thought, "Oh, here's high-end real estate." And then looked at all the Everglades and they said, "Oh, here's secondary real estate. Maybe we can trick someone in Ohio or New York to buy it." And that's why you have so many places like Miami Lakes, Miami Shores, Miami Gardens, all these things that are named after the city on the water, even though they're far away from the water.
So
they want people to think they're living.
It's in Miami.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
The history of names of cities in South Florida is really, really interesting.
Really?
Yeah, because it's all, it's all based around trying to sell land. So it's a huge real estate game.
Scamming people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when I was coming to the States to study, somebody told me, "Oh, yeah, the University of Miami is in Coral Gables." So I was bummed. Because I didn't want to live in Coral Gables. I want to live in Miami.
Right. Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. Miami Gardens.
Right. And even University of Miami, if it was called University of Coral Gables,
nobody will care.
No, it probably would not get as big as it did.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Okay, so, okay. So you are now specialized in urban design? Do you call yourself like that?
That's a lot of what we do. We do architecture as well, but
you do architecture as well, but mainly urban design.
Probably 50-50 right now.
50-50.
Yeah.
What type of architecture do you do?
We're doing some residential projects right now.
Okay.
We did a ski home for a client in Romania.
Okay.
We're starting to work on a house in Pinecrest right now.
Okay.
Small things that we get to test things out.
Yes.
It's similar to, this is a little sculptural project that I built.
Okay.
So
very Miami.
Yeah.
Very Miami.
Looking at the
glass. The color of this. Okay.
Yeah. But all that to say, I really like to go up and down in scales.
Do something big and then
really big, really small. Yeah.
Why though?
I think it's fun. I think it's more fun than just specializing in one thing.
So, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew. There is so many questions I'm gonna ask you, but I wanna mix the fun and the not fun at the same time. But I also I know you a little bit. That makes it even harder. But I also want to try to take things from you so people can learn a little bit from you.
Yeah.
Especially young architects. You are a pretty young guy, and you started your own practice.
Mm-hmm.
How much of balls do you think that needs?
Yeah, I was very lucky. First of all, I had a lot of great mentors that I think made it possible. My path was kind of do the 5-year undergraduate, work for 2 years, go to grad school for another 2 years,
Okay.
and then start the firm.
But that's what you did, no?
Yeah.
You only worked for 2 years?
Yeah. 2 years full time. And then I interned throughout.
Okay. I see. 2 years full time, you went to grad school and then you started the business.
Yeah.
Okay. You think that's enough? Or do you think it's risky?
It's risky.
It's risky.
Yeah. Most people, that's not the typical path.
Yes, it's not.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people also prefer to work for companies. There's less headaches.
Yeah, especially now with I just think the economic landscape favors large companies as opposed to small companies.
Even in architecture.
Especially in architecture.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
There's so much red tape compared to in previous generations. There's just so many things that you can't exist without an accountant, a lawyer, like all these things.
Yes.
And we've slowly been building that up. But I was talking to an architect who's just 10 years older than me. He's like 38. He said, "Oh, even just he's like, if you got started when I got started, things were different.
It was easier.
Yeah, if you were to submit a drawing set for the city of Miami for a medium or even a large building, you might submit 20 pages. Now, I mean, you're submitting 100 or 200 pages for a house.
For a house.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of production that has to go in the background.
Yeah, there's so much more bureaucracy, so much more things that you have to satisfy.
And regulations.
Yeah. It's much easier for larger companies, pretty much in any industry, I think, it's easier for larger companies to deal with regulation.
Yes, of course.
Smaller companies,
it's tough.
Too much overhead.
Yeah, that goes back to the name.
Yeah,
interesting. So this is being mainly caused by regulation. Because regulations are like small threads.
Yeah.
Like one extra regulation doesn't stop you, but 2 don't stop you, 3 don't stop you. But then when there's a lot of regulations, it becomes impossible to do anything.
Yeah, there's a tangled web.
Yes, and it's not one that you cannot identify the problem because it's not one thread that's stopping you.
No,
it's so many threads,
and they were all good ideas by well-intentioned people.
Yeah, by well-intentioned people. But then so many of them. Very interesting. So So why is it why is it too risky? Is it the overhead? Is it getting clients? What is the toughest thing in your opinion? Because starting businesses is a very tough thing. One of the hardest things in my opinion.
But that's why a lot of people we're not even doing yet. We're not managing any people. Yeah, that's just me and my business.
It's just you and your business.
I see that'll be the most interesting and biggest and fun challenge. We'll be working with people
when you start hiring people.
Yeah.
But before hiring people, you need to bring oxygen to the business. You need to bring money, bring sales.
Yeah.
How do you bring sales if you are starting a new business?
Yeah, you can't market like you market other things.
Okay.
Because not that many people are looking to build a building. Everyone's looking to buy a car.
Okay.
Easier to market cars to people.
Okay.
Even lawyers, every once in a while someone gets in an accident. He's a lawyer.
You call Alex Hanna.
Yeah. See posters of him everywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's hard to find clients because it's a specialized business. Okay. And usually developers or homeowners or people who are underwriting loans, all these people in the building industry.
They are going to the big dogs.
Yeah, they already have connections. They,
Yes.
If you're gonna hire someone to build a building, which almost anyone who's constructing the building, who's designing the building, who's especially who's investing or developing the building, they have so much at risk.
Sure.
It's very difficult to convince them to take a risk on a new person.
Yeah.
So for me, the success in finding clients has been speaking at conferences.
Okay.
Because then you can demonstrate some level of know-how and some level of confidence and knowledge.
Yeah, of course.
So conferences have been big.
I like that.
And then just networking through people that I've worked with before.
Yeah.
I said I was lucky. And I think the biggest piece of luck has been the series of professional experiences and mentors that I've had that then I plug into their network.
Okay.
And I think that's
big.
Yeah, that's really big, is having people that will vouch for you and say, this person's new, maybe don't have them go on your biggest project, but give them a chance. And
give them a chance. Yeah. Especially if they know you, they work with you.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than like a mouth-to-mouth referral.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically all that it is.
Because when you build a reputation being savage, being detail-oriented, then people would route for you. Yeah. Very interesting. I like the conference thing. I would have never thought about it. You go to conferences, talk, and people will listen to you. Something will spark in their mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Our biggest client right now just saw me give a talk. So, yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. So you haven't hired people yet, so you cannot talk about the experience with people.
Yeah.
What other thing you think is hardest to start a business other than the natural barriers that are there?
Yeah, capital is big.
Yes.
I mean, we waited to get an office until we had 2 projects signed up.
Okay.
So, we were able to do this mostly from just money that we were bringing in.
Yes.
And to have this is a big space for just 2 people.
Of course.
But we invested in that because we thought it would help legitimize.
Yeah, legitimize, because people will come to your office.
We bring people here all the time.
There is a physical space.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Yeah.
So you don't think it will be hard for somebody to start without an office?
Yeah. And just like any business, especially a business of passion, think about restaurants.
Yeah.
There's an infinite amount of money that you could spend.
Okay.
Because when it comes to quality of the drawings you produce, the cookies that you bake, whatever it is that you're doing, you can always purchase higher quality ingredients or higher quality softwares or whatever it is.
Okay.
So I think there's a danger in if you take out a loan or you have money from friends, investors, it's very difficult to know. Yeah, it's difficult to know what to spend it on.
Okay. It's difficult when you are starting.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what brings the most amount of money.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's a difficult thing.
Mm-hmm. Especially in a broad field like design. In architecture, yeah.
Okay. So what other big, other than like the rent of the office, what is another big investment?
It's the rent, and then it's softwares and technology.
They are that expensive these days?
There's a lot that can be expensive. We've been very focused and cautious about what we spend our money on, so it's not a big. It's not a big part of our expenses right now.
But technology for starting architecture business can be a big sum.
Yeah.
So people have to think about that.
Yeah, people definitely have to think about that. And then the next is just payroll. It's even though we're just 2 people, to pay rent in Miami, to feed yourself.
Yeah, of course, it's expensive.
That's our biggest expense.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That is interesting. But I personally think, obviously you have to, it is tough, but if you last for like 3, 4, 5 years, then you start getting the fruit of it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a floodgate.
Yeah.
There is a moment in the life of you starting a business that like
Yeah.
But obviously, it needs a lot of consistency. You cannot but hopefully, you get to that very fast. You're a very smart guy. Tell me a little bit about the books you wrote.
Yeah. So, I wrote a book on the history of design and development of Miami called Delirious Miami.
Delirious Miami.
Yeah.
You can buy it on Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the easiest way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Delirious Miami.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have one of my best friends translated it into Spanish.
Really?
Now have in English and Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe you can help me with a Lebanese version. I genuinely want.
Really? In Arabic?
I've talked to in Arabic. I've talked to friends about doing getting into the South Korean market.
Wow.
I have friends
because you think a lot of people are interested in Miami in the name.
I think so, and especially, and this is just me being crazy, but I think it actually matters. The new Grand Theft Auto taking place in Miami.
Oh, really?
It comes out like a year from now. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But that did a lot for LA. It does a lot for global consciousness of a city.
People, how they think about the city.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's coming a year from now.
And a year from now. Yeah.
GTA 7, 8? How old is it?
6?
I think 6 is out already. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't played these games for
Maybe it's 7. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you wrote that book? You wrote another book too? Or you were
working on 2 other books.
Okay.
One is a cookbook. And then the other is and then the other is a sequel to Delirious Miami. Titled Invasive Miami. So.
Invasive?
Yeah.
Okay. And a little bit about Delirious Miami. What is it about?
It's a history of design and development that was modeled after a famous book called Delirious New York, in which this architect Rem Koolhaas makes what he called a retroactive manifesto for New York.
Okay.
He said, I as a European have a unique insight into the American way of thinking.
Okay.
And Americans haven't been writing manifestos, so I'm going to do one for them.
Wow.
And so he wrote this manifesto for New York City using history as a lens. And I just thought that was so interesting that I also wanted to learn more about the history of Miami.
Okay.
So I kind of followed that template. So
you talk about the Flagler, the guy?
Yeah.
You talk about him in that book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have the book, but I haven't read it that deep. Okay, interesting. Okay, let's see. Do you have any hobbies, Andrew, other than cooking? Seems like cooking is one of your hobbies.
Yeah, baking, cooking. I like to get outside. I mean, it's really hot right now, but any type of racket sports, racquetball, tennis, pickleball. I want to play. I have some friends that play. What's the German one?
Badminton?
No, but I played a lot of badminton in grad school. Actually, that was
really?
Paddle.
German? Oh, paddle. Yes.
Yeah, I want to try that one out. But
that's your hobby.
Just working out and doing sports in general.
Okay.
Yeah, basketball. I like basketball and racket sports are my 2 biggest ways to move around.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how many languages do you speak?
Just one.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't speak Spanish?
No.
I thought you speak
a little
Spanish.
Bit. Un poquito.
Really? You only speak English?
Yeah.
But you speak it very well.
Oh, well, I'd hope so. Maybe that's my excuse for not speaking any other language.
Okay.
I have to,
Interesting.
Study English more.
Interesting. Yeah, let's see what else. So one language.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for people who younger architects? Because again, you are a very young guy.
Yeah.
You are a very young guy, and again, you started your own business. But do you have any advice for younger architects?
Yeah. Find every opportunity you can to do real design.
What is real design?
That's tough. Real design involves real constraints. Okay. So in school, you have a very good simulation of what it takes to be an architect.
But they are fake constraints.
Yeah, it's not quite the real thing. So, if you can find a mentor or someone who is actively doing design of buildings.
Okay.
Do everything you can to learn from them, because that type of person is rare.
That's what you call real design.
Yeah.
Like practical design.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not just drafting, not just the software.
But a lot of people don't have this privilege.
Right.
I think you are. I know where you are getting. I will tell you where. Maybe you don't want to say it, but I don't have no shame.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people, when they go into architecture, they start working with these big companies and they become like robots.
Yeah.
You are like, they give you this software, you learn the software, you think, oh, I learned Revit or I learned blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you become like, all you're doing is just building models for people who design something.
Right. Yeah.
Is this what you mean?
Yes. You can't get too lost, and there's so many technical skills. You can get lost in just learning the technical skills.
Okay. So what other skills they need to learn?
Hand drawing, which doesn't have to be pen and paper. I mean, it can be on the iPad or anything.
Why hand drawing?
Because there's a level of fluidity that allows you to work through problems fast.
When you're drawing by hand.
Yeah. I've heard stories, and architectural education is kind of shifting back because it went too far into softwares.
Okay.
I've heard stories from people that were maybe 4 or 5 years older than me, working for a firm. The firm owner was presenting to our class in grad school. She was telling us the issues that she had with her business.
Okay.
She said many of her project managers and people in the middle of her firm would present to a client, and because they didn't know how to draw by hand, they couldn't work through any ideas with the client there. They would give them a PowerPoint presentation, and then the client would say, oh, I don't like this. I want this changed. Like, can we try this out?
They have to go back to the office?
Yeah, they'd have to meet again next week.
Oh, okay. So you're wasting cycles, basically.
Yeah, and you're not getting as much live feedback. There's nothing quite like being able to draw while you're talking through issues.
Wow, I would have never thought about that.
Yeah.
Draw by hand.
Yeah, it's really big, and a lot of schools don't focus on it specifically because this is a profession that needs people to be part of the machine.
They need people to be part of the machine.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a reality.
Yeah. So maybe 10% of people
are designers.
Will need to design like that. Yeah.
And the rest are just producing drawings, for example.
A lot of production. Yeah.
A lot of production.
So if you want to be a designer,
yes,
no one's going to hand that to you. You have to very actively pursue those skills.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. So how can a person realize that they are trapped in this production? And it's not a bad thing, but the way we are talking about it might sound bad.
Yeah. It's simply
like you are becoming like a production, like there's no thinking, basically.
Right.
You are thinking about how to take this thing that is designed and make it in the software. You're not thinking about how it is created.
Yeah.
You're not the creator anymore.
Yeah, I had this phrase in my head towards the end of my undergraduate where
We're gonna piss off a lot of big architecture.
Maybe. I would think, and I would see, as I would do internships and as I would do public workshops, and I would see a little bit more of the profession. So many of the decisions were being made by the people in finance or the people in construction. And so this phrase that came up in my head was, creativity doesn't lie in your profession, it lies in your position.
In your position?
Yeah.
But why? Why do you say people in finance were making decisions?
Because they understand a lot about efficiency.
Okay.
And a lot of people in the finance profession have spent long enough looking at architects' drawings that they start to be able to actually draw and design. And they
finance people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people at development companies.
Like construction people, I would understand a little bit.
Yeah. No, because if you are very good at your job and you're used to hiring someone to do a job for you, you're always thinking about how they can do their job better.
Okay.
So I ran into a lot of developers that could run circles around architects when it came to
practical stuff.
Practical stuff when it came to market-driven stuff, when it came to efficiency of building.
Efficiency. And maybe local stuff too.
Yeah, knowing the laws,
Yes.
knowing different things. If you're just in a market for that long,
you
start
learn.
to think about.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And again, just to focus a little bit on this point,
Mm-hmm.
because I was so lucky, for example, that I never was locked in this production thing.
Yeah.
Because I never worked in it.
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a drafter in the beginning when I was in structural engineering, and then I just didn't stay there long because I went to construction sites.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people, they get like locked into that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then unfortunately they need the money.
Yeah.
So they have to get stuck.
Yeah.
And then you get stuck, and it's tough. It is tough. I see what you mean. And do you know what's the other problem, in my opinion? That you are an architect, but then 10 years pass by and you're just doing the same machine, robot stuff. And then after 10 years, you realize you really don't know anything about architecture. You're just an architect.
That's a big danger.
Yeah.
And something that in any position, you can get stuck not knowing how to actually be an architect.
Yeah.
You could come at it the way that I came at it, where I'm trying to understand all the context and understand all of the unseen forces that move the production of buildings.
Yes.
And I concentrated on that a lot.
These unseen forces. Yeah.
There's still so many things that I have to learn.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, people used to ask me, "Oh, would you ever build a skyscraper?"
Okay.
And before I worked at Coastal Construction Company, I would not be joking when I would say maybe when I'm 80.
Okay.
Because there's so much to learn.
Yeah, so much to learn.
And typically architects work on smaller scale buildings first.
Okay.
Because they're a bit less complicated, still very complicated.
Yes.
And then people can work their way up towards these more complex problems of really big buildings.
Okay.
So it's a profession that I am really happy that I'm in, because there are literally architects that blossom and bloom when they're 65. There are architects that work a career or are in a completely different career.
Yeah.
And then they have enough accumulated knowledge that they really
can mix
start to produce good architecture.
Yes, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You are saying very interesting stuff. Oh. So you need a lot of things to become a good architect.
Yeah, my other piece of advice, I guess, to young architects would be usually you're not going to be a good poet if you're 20 years old.
Okay.
You could, but there's a lot of things about life that just take time for you to learn.
Yes.
So trying to be a well-rounded, well-read, knowledgeable, interesting person, pursuing that as an end unto itself, could actually produce better architecture.
A better architect.
Yeah. I
see, because you're looking at things from different perspectives.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. Okay, Andrew, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Do you have any tattoos?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't know.
Right here. Yeah.
What is it?
It's nerdy because it is written in the same font that my book was written in.
The Delirious Miami.
Yeah, but it's nothing to do with architecture.
Oh, okay.
It's Latin. It says "Serva Fidem,"
what does that
means keep faith.
Keep faith.
It's kind of like keep the faith, or like preserve.
Why do you have it there, though? Was like a bet or something? You were drunk?
No, it was in graduate school. I had a friend who was doing stick and pokes.
Really? Like recently in graduate school?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 2-3 years ago now.
Wow.
But yeah, she did a great job.
So it's not with the machine.
By hand.
By hand.
Yeah.
They hurt more. Were you did you drug yourself? Take something?
No, it was uncomfortable, but it didn't hurt too bad.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, maybe like 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I get scared so much from that. I don't have any tattoos.
I was scared because I thought I would get addicted. Because I have an addictive personality, and I feel like I thought, oh, well, if I get something here, I'm going to need the whole sleeve. And if I get one sleeve, I need the other sleeve. So.
You thought that?
Yeah. I still think that, even though, like, if I get a second one, I'm still thinking, oh, that's going to lead into so much. So I feel like there is a good spot for.
How did you get convinced to do it? Did they convince you, or you just want to it?
I had been wanting to, and the fact that I had a friend who was doing
Oh,
them
that's it.
made it easy. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so that's the only tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
That's the story of it.
Yeah.
It says what? Keep faith.
Yeah.
Keep faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Now I'm gonna ask you a little bit less. You know what, Andrew? Actually, let's go a little bit back because this is for the people who are watching.
Uh-huh.
You did undergrad. You worked for 2 years, and then you went for grad school.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you do undergrad? Where did you work for 2 years, if you can say?
Yeah.
And where did you go for grad school?
Yeah. So undergrad was University of Miami, where I met you.
That's
where
true.
I
We
met my business partner.
Uh-huh.
Where I met my current roommate. So much of my life, and now I teach there.
Wow. Some big part of your life.
Big part of my life. Full circle. So I went to University of Miami.
Uh-huh.
And then I worked for a person in Asheville, North Carolina, who had a little 8-person firm making maps of cities' fiscal systems. Very interesting.
Okay.
So
is the tax thing? Remember? Yeah. Okay. I remember that.
Maps of taxes, but this was a guy who was trained as an architect. So he had still has a very interesting take on seeing the world, very spatial. But also, he was someone who was also obsessed with this idea of invisible forces that shape the built environment.
Okay, that's very interesting.
His passion was changing the built world through financial language.
Financial language.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so North Carolina was where I first found a pair of suspenders.
Oh, that's why you wear pairs as well. Yeah, you're very known. No, you wear them every day?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, become part of your style.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
My work style, at least.
The mustache is new.
That's new. Yeah. Trying it out in the summer.
It's good.
It's really.
I was trying to do a mustache, but with a little bit of beard.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the balls for it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then after this Asheville?
I got a call from you.
Okay.
And you said, hey, we might have this job at this construction company.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. Do you know, is there more you can tell me? And you're like, no, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Actually, I was telling the story yesterday. Who is it? Today we were having lunch, and I was telling a story that how you came to Ghost. It
was a crazy time. It was COVID. I was working from home, and you kind of gave me this interesting, mysterious opportunity.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of made the leap of faith. I was from Florida to begin with. So
yeah, of course.
It was still a scary COVID time. So
we made you come back to Miami and
be closer to family. And so came back to Miami, worked in construction for a year.
Okay.
That was an awesome experience.
Okay. Can you say the name of the company?
Yeah, Coastal Construction.
Okay.
So
and then after Coastal?
After Coastal, I went to grad school at Yale.
Okay.
I was there for 2 years, and that's in New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay. And what was the master's in?
It was a master's of architecture.
But is there any specialty, or it's general architecture?
This was a program that was specifically made for people who had already done an accredited degree. So if you do
you have done an accredited degree?
Yeah, I had done
the University of Miami is considered accredited?
Yes, because it's 5 years.
Because it's 5 years.
And it's officially licensed. So this was a program called the Post-Professional Program. It was meant for people who can already be architects and have already been working in the field. So it was a lot smaller. The School of Architecture at Yale is about 300 people.
Okay,
something like
only.
That. Yeah, and
not only the graduate, everything.
It's only a graduate program, actually.
Their architectural school is only a graduate program.
Yeah,
they don't have undergrad.
They have a few classes for undergrads, but there's no major.
No major.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going on this because it's very important. How did they know that you are eligible to become Do you have to
have
submit?
had an accredited degree that you submit. Yeah.
Accredited degree, okay. What else?
And be working in the profession. So you submit something to show that you're already a current professional
Okay.
who wants to come back to school. And so
Okay.
they select about between 15 and 20 people per year. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How many people
Yes.
applied, do you know?
Oh, it's a lot. I don't know how many.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell me about that application.
Yeah.
Applying to Yale for an architectural degree, master's architectural degree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you need to do any exams?
No.
Or was mainly based on past?
They recently took away the requirement for the GRE.
Okay.
So I didn't have to take any exams. You just show your previous grades from undergraduate. I don't think that matters too much. And you show a portfolio of your designs. So
did you have a portfolio?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did you build this portfolio?
So school
From
projects.
School? Okay.
And also working professionally.
Okay.
So I was able to show a little bit of any drawings that I had done, or any buildings I had been a part of their construction. You know.
And you had to do the GRE at that time.
I did not.
You did not. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was really portfolio, essay submissions.
Okay, essays.
Yep. Letter of recommendation.
How many do you remember?
Essays. I probably wrote maybe 5 to 10 pages.
Okay.
Across different prompts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Letters of recommendation and
letters of recommendation were important. I think you need 3.
Okay. And only 15 people every year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was a great program. We had people, very international program.
Okay. Your age, or they were older than you in general?
Mostly, I would say I was kind of in the middle. Maybe the average was late 20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, but how did they build this record to get to the school if they are just in the 20s?
You just had a lot of people who were working for a few years. Also, a lot of people that went to school in different countries.
Okay.
So sometimes they would finish their degree in 4 years instead of 5.
Okay.
It was still an accredited degree where they were, studying.
Sure.
And then, so a lot of people were just, went to school for 4 years, worked for 2 years.
Okay.
And so 6 years,
Interesting. And you like the experience?
Yeah.
Is it considered, again, I really don't know about this. Is it considered like one of the most prestigious architectural schools? What is it like?
It is, yeah. Okay. And I'm biased.
Of course. I'm
very passionate about it. I think they have one of the best cultures. They're for sure a top 5 school.
In the States?
Yeah.
In Masters of Architecture?
In Masters of Architecture. I believe they're number 2.
Can you tell me the top 5?
Yeah. Harvard
are very good in architecture?
Yeah, I believe they're ranked number 1.
Okay.
Yale.
Okay.
MIT.
Okay.
Columbia. And I'm not sure about the 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this Yale campus is part of the, like, it's the the big the main campus, or is it like the main campus?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you had 15 people only 15 people were accepted every year.
Yeah.
And the program is 2 years.
It is a 2-year program.
2-year program.
So the other Masters of Architecture program is 3 years.
They have another Masters of Architecture.
Yeah, that's the main one. So, like I said, the school is 300 people.
Okay.
There's a Masters of Environmental Design. There's a doctorate program, and those are very small. There's our program, the post-professional program.
Okay.
And then there's the typical Masters.
Okay.
That is, it's one of the more prestigious schools. The track is for most Masters of Architecture, you've done a 4-year degree.
Okay.
And then you're just going straight into your master's.
Doesn't matter the accreditation. In this case, in your case, you had to be.
In my case, I already had to be.
Okay.
For all of the other program, that is their accreditation.
Okay.
So they do 4 plus 2.
Yes. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. So that was at Yale. And it is where? Where is the university?
New Haven, Connecticut.
New Haven.
It's maybe 2.5 hours outside of New York, driving or by train.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From New York City?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So not that far.
Yeah, most of my friends are working in New York now.
In
The
architecture
pipeline is very
easy.
Yeah.
You can then directly get a job from there.
Yeah.
You become a robot or not necessarily?
My friends are varying degrees of bored.
Uh-huh.
I would say most of them are not bored.
Most of them are not?
Yeah, I think most of them
okay,
are
that's
working
good.
in exciting enough firms that, if it's a firm that's interesting enough, you can
Yeah.
still do that kind of work. But
Yeah.
you have mentors and you're around people
Sure.
that are very, very smart. So
Sure. Okay. 2 years. Do you consider it was tough, or it for you because you like it, you love it? It's not that tough.
it was still tough, but
It
it
is
was
tough.
fun. Yeah.
What is the tough part of it? Projects or
me-
too much of memorizing? Too much of like creating? What was tough?
For me, it was tough to get back into the school mentality
Okay.
because I was chasing
Yes.
like what's real, what's the profession like.
Yes.
And school, especially the prestigious school like this, is always question the profession, always try and push the boundaries.
Okay.
So I had to settle back into that mentality, which took a minute.
Okay.
But also, I just got very passionate for taking classes outside the School of Architecture. Because this was a post-professional degree,
Yeah.
you had a lot more freedom with your electives.
To take electives.
Yeah.
I
So
see.
I took ecology courses. I took
I'm gonna sound so
marketing
what is
courses.
ecology?
It was like biology, basically.
Okay.
Like biology of animals.
Okay.
We talked a lot about lizards and how they evolve.
Okay. You took also, what did you say? Marketing courses?
Marketing, some like urban planning courses, and I took like a Russian literature course, and that was so hard. I had to read like 2,400 pages in a semester.
Andrew, since you made your life hard.
yeah. But that was some of the most interesting stuff.
Russian literature.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Studying architecture. Why would you do the Russian literature?
It's helping me out with the second book, actually.
It's helping you with the second book.
Yeah.
Invasive Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting theory in philosophy.
Really?
Yeah, that architects oftentimes are inspired by philosophers or other arts.
For sure. Because I would assume there's a lot of philosophy in architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's art.
Yeah.
So there's like an intangible part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That is very. Do you consider going again to school, or that's it?
No.
No.
I think I'm good. Maybe I'll take courses as a professor. Maybe I could audit other courses.
Yes.
But
what are you teaching now at the university?
Design. So
At the School of Architecture?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you teach without a PhD?
No. You need a graduate degree.
A graduate degree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can teach without a PhD.
As you am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So design for first year students.
Okay.
And then previously, myself and Chris, my business partner, coordinated a drawing course for second years.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll go back to that. Right now, just
one
design.
class enough.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Have you traveled a lot in your life?
Yeah, that's another thing I've been lucky with. I think I got great scholarships to both University of Miami and Yale.
Okay.
And both of those schools being private universities, I think had a bit more of a budget to do travel included as part of the program.
Part of the program?
Yeah. So,
like in University of Miami, they made you guys travel?
Yeah. We would travel to, when you were younger, it was more of travel to the Florida Keys, travel to Palm Beach, driving bus trips.
To see architecture.
Yeah. They brought us to the Florida Panhandle once. So we kind of went all around Florida looking at local architecture. And then they have a semester where you can study in Rome for the same tuition, and housing is actually less expensive. So that was a less expensive.
So you went to Rome?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you go?
One full semester.
Full semester, like 3 months.
Yeah.
You didn't learn Italian, Andrew? Jesus.
I always say that
Oh God,
studying in Italy didn't make my Italian better. It made my Spanish worse.
Okay, because now you're confused between the two.
I got so confused. Yeah.
Yeah. So you went to Rome. You lived in Rome.
Yeah, for 4 months.
Wow, where in Rome?
Very close to the Vatican, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Oh, it was so much fun. That was for a while. That was my favorite city that I had ever been to.
Really?
Yeah. That was I had to get my passport for that trip. I think that was the first time
You left the country.
Besides being like
I
2
didn't
years
know
old.
that you went.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much you were. How old you were? 22.
Well, I was 2 years old when I had previously left the country.
Okay,
So
okay.
that was the first time in that I could actually remember. Yeah.
Okay. How old were you when you went to Rome?
21.
Okay, you lived there for 4 months.
Yeah.
Rome is pretty city, man.
Oh, it's
like a museum.
Yeah, I learned so
scary.
much. I mean, great for architects.
The city is scary.
Yeah.
Everything is a museum. You walk here, shit, this is pretty, and then no, this is pretty.
I was walking around when I got there. I was walking around with my best friend, and we were looking at I had just landed. You know, I was jet lagged, but we were very excited, so we're walking around the city, and we're super obsessed with architecture at this point. You know, like 3 or 4 years in, they really get to your head. It's like military. You just become obsessed.
Yeah.
And we saw the winding streets. You know, we were walking around, and we're like, oh, maybe we were trying to go to the Pantheon.
Okay,
One of the most famous buildings.
I stayed at the hotel like 1 minute away from
close by. Oh,
like that's awesome. I was just I was like, what is this thing? I didn't know what it is.
We were actively looking for it.
Okay.
And there were so many old buildings. We're like, maybe that's it. It looks so old. Oh, no, maybe that's it.
Not it.
And then when we saw it, we knew. We were like, oh, that's a fucking old building.
Yeah. It's an old building.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy city. Oh my God. Now after going to Rome, take me to any city, I'm not impressed. You see some pretty stuff. You say, okay, that's fun. Because you were like overdosed. I was there for 5 days. I was gonna throw up.
There's
architecture and pretty stuff.
There's like a psychological word for like cathedral fatigue or church fatigue or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, you go to
everything is a church. I was so lucky. I'm a Catholic, so I went to Firenze before, like to Florence before Rome. The day, like 2 days. I was there for 3 days before going to Rome.
Yeah.
So I prayed in like 2 big cathedrals in Florence, and then I prayed in the Vatican. It was really nice for me, like nice experience every day in a big cathedral. But I got fed up of churches. Like I couldn't. Like there is I've posted a funny thing on my Instagram, but there is like 2 churches that are identical. You know which one?
Yeah.
And I was like, if you're bored, you have one church, you can get another church.
And they have like 80 of them that if you drop them anywhere else in the world, it'd be the best building in the whole city.
Yeah.
So it's
crazy. Rome is crazy. I was so shocked. But then my friends told me to go and eat the cacio e pepe.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, in Rome, cacio e pepe and carbonara. And they gave me the best place to go to. So I walked like maybe 3 hours to get there because I was walking.
Yeah.
And when I ate it, I got diarrhea. I didn't know how to get back to the hotel. I was like,
you're stuck. That's so funny.
Like, you have to go to this place. And they made me wait and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I ate the cacio e pepe and I went. And 15 minutes after leaving the house, I couldn't hold myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very, very pretty city. Very pretty city.
Yeah.
Okay, so you traveled to Rome. Any other cities you traveled to?
In grad school, we had a summer program that was also covered.
Okay.
And I got to go to Sweden. That was
wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. And then it's included in the budget for the studios that you can go to. Most of their studios, you have a week where you get to travel.
What studios? I'm not.
So a studio is your core course in architecture.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Design studio is
okay. I see. So the course is called studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had friends that went to Thailand. I had friends that went to Rome. I had friends that went.
So you went to Sweden?
Places. Yeah. I went to Sweden.
How long?
The summer was, I think it was a 6-week program.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was That was really cool.
No, I've never been to Sweden.
Yeah.
But I think it would be nice.
I was there for midsummer.
Okay.
Which basically the sun doesn't go down at the peak of summer. So
not at all?
I'm trying to remember because I think we stayed up the whole time. And maybe it got like a little dark for like 20 minutes, but that was it.
20 minutes?
We were very far north. Yeah.
The first time I experienced this, I was in France actually last year in the summer.
Yeah.
It was like 11 p.m. and the sun was going down. I was like, shit. But it goes down for like 4 or 5 hours. It's not like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I was so like, it was a shocking experience for me.
Yeah.
It was like 11, like the longest I've seen it was 8, 11 p.m. We're still it's light. I don't know how people live there. What else other than
Lebanon is probably like similar to Miami, like closeness to the equator, right?
I think so, yeah. We are very close to the equator, but we are not on the equator. Right. I think Miami is closer to the equator than Lebanon.
Okay.
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lebanon is like beside Greece.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Italy, Greece, same. Italy is a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any other places you travel?
Yeah. For a few years, I was very lucky because my father was working for American Airlines.
Okay.
So as his family member, I had flight benefits.
Okay.
And I went to Japan for like 4 days. My constraints were always like the vacation time that I could take, and then the cost of the hotel.
Because everything else the
flight was not the constraint. So I would go to these places.
4 days to Japan.
Very short amount of time. Yeah. I was just in Tokyo.
Okay.
But that was incredible. There were a lot of places that I've been that have influenced my kind of view on architecture.
Okay, and what is which one you say is your favorite city?
Maybe Tokyo.
Tokyo?
Yeah.
Even you only went for 4 days?
Yeah.
More than Rome now, you say?
More than Rome, more than, I've been to Seoul in South Korea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know you have traveled that much.
Yeah.
So why Tokyo?
Maybe because it's so similar to Miami, which is
really
it's
similar to Miami.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Home. I was fascinated by their buildings.
Okay.
I was taking so many pictures just walking around by myself because they have a very similar climate
to Miami.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very similar kind of like construction industry, I guess. And just some of the things that they were doing over there, I was like, this is so genius. And so a lot of the materials they were using, I thought could be brought back to Miami. They do very well with tile.
With tile?
Yeah, like subway tile, which I'm kind of obsessed with now.
Okay.
But
so what do you mean they do very well?
On the facades of buildings, in Miami we do a lot of stucco. Of white stucco.
Yeah.
Because we have concrete buildings.
Sure.
They also have a lot of concrete buildings. And they just cover the facade in like these little tiles.
With tiles?
And, there's this gorgeous amount of color that I've heard very good things about Portugal, and I've never been there. But less handmade and more, just machine made. But
tiles.
Yeah, there's something about walking around when it was sunset and all the colors were bouncing off each other. And they're also very, very good at how they use space. Because for so long, it's a country that's thousands of years, their culture is thousands of years old. And they've always been, constrained for space.
Why? Because it's a small country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Small island and a developable space even smaller. So the way they think about everything is methodical.
Okay.
You think about bonsai trees.
Okay.
These are trees that are curated over hundreds of years, and they're only this big.
How were they curated? Weren't they like that?
They cut them and wrap them around and do specific things to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So they wrap the tree around itself?
Yeah, and they curate like many of these.
This is where this conversation is getting interesting for me.
Yeah, I don't know if people.
Okay.
They call it dead wood and live wood, where you'll get a piece of wood that's like dead, but it hasn't rotted away because it's connected to this live tree, and they can be 800 years old.
So they add the wood to the tree and becomes part of the tree?
It's still the same tree.
Okay.
But part of the tree has died.
Okay.
It's like petrified.
Yeah.
And you just cut it back and it stays alive because it never got to that peak condition.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always trying to grow. So
how does that relate the efficiency of the space?
Culturally, it's a very patient culture.
They are patient people and clean.
Yeah, very clean, especially the public spaces.
Yeah.
So, you look
how
at
did you
consider
with Miami? Like,
yeah, we're not exactly.
How did you fuck that up?
I saw what Miami could be.
Okay, yeah, it could be, yeah.
Very urban, very like everything is tight, and there would be a lot that's like the size of our office. You know, it's like 1,000 square feet.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of the day, the construction workers like sweeping it. You know, to make sure it's not dirty. It's a construction site.
Yes.
But they're still cleaning up every day.
Yes.
And just the fabric of the way the buildings are connected to each other, and these all of the space is really well paid attention to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You think that was driven because they had small island part of their back of their minds?
Yeah. Even their air conditioners are smaller. Yeah, everything is very, very efficient.
How is the food? Would you eat the food directly?
The food was great.
Really?
Yeah, I had Wagyu steak before Wagyu became like very popular and everyone knew about it.
When did you go to Japan?
This was 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe people knew about it, but it was definitely not as
not like now.
Yeah.
Interesting. I lived in China for 6 months in 2006. Did you know that?
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, not a lot of people know that.
Okay.
I left in 2006 with my father imports clothing from China to Lebanon.
Yeah.
So when we went there, the second day there was war in Lebanon. Like Israel hit the Lebanese airport, so there's no way back.
Yeah.
So I got stuck there for 5 months and a half.
Wow.
The best 5 months of my life.
You had a good time.
Best time of my life.
The food was
I came back, I was crying.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back. The food, this is why I asked you. In the beginning, I couldn't eat their food. I smell it and I got like,
it's very different.
I'm going to throw up.
Yeah.
But then after 2-3 weeks, just give me the Chinese food. And the spices, oh God, go to the bathroom. But I liked it. And I didn't live in a fancy city. I lived in Guangzhou, so it's not like it's an industrial city.
Yeah.
And I just loved it a lot.
I've always wanted to go to Shenzhen.
Yeah, I've never been.
Also an industrial city.
It's just very beautiful country.
Yeah.
I like China a lot. Like living there, really, really nice.
Yeah.
I think I would like living there. Like at 5 p.m., the amount of feet on the street, you can even hear people walking. Like this is how much. At 12, you cannot get a taxi because like everybody's going to lunch.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I love scale. So this city is like...
it overwhelms you in a good way.
Yes and no. For example, in New York, I would not like to live in New York. I think it's too much.
I get overwhelmed when I go to New York.
But there, again, it depends where you live also. Like people tell you I live in Miami. Do you expect Coral Gables to be part of Miami, for example? You know?
Right, yeah.
I would have never expected this.
It's a variety of experiences.
And this is why I like Miami.
It's why it's such a cool city.
You can choose whoever you want. There's a lot of crooks in Miami. You can just choose them if you want.
Yeah, Al Capone lived
there. There is a lot of rich people in Miami. You can choose to be around. There's smart people and there's stupid people.
Yeah.
You see, that's why I like Miami. You can choose your crowd.
Oh, yeah.
And there is from everything. And in a very small radius.
Yeah.
Like Coral Gables to Wynwood to South Beach. Everything is close. Yeah. And that's why I like it.
There was some quote. I think I quoted it and put it in the book.
It
was like, Miami's not a city. It's a city. It's a series of experiences that are all 20 minutes away from each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain it better than this. I should have used this. A series of experiences that are 20 minutes away from each other. Yeah, if there's no traffic.
Yeah. Now it's...
You go to South Beach, there is a feeling, actually like 5th Street, like, you know, I don't know if that's called 5th Street or 5th Avenue.
Yeah.
The fancy South Beach, and then you go like, tourist, and then fancy again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow, okay. So what is your favorite city? Is Tokyo?
I think so.
You think so? Wow, okay. Have you ever been to other things like Seoul and Tokyo? Something that's very weird.
Seoul, Tokyo.
Like, don't tell me something like San Francisco. I'm saying something I would have never expected you to be there.
No.
Did you like Sweden?
Yeah. I've kind of been to a lot of places in Europe now, and a lot of places in the U.S. because of my father's flight benefits.
Wow.
I went with him one weekend just to Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
That was an exotic place.
Really?
We have some exotic places in the United States.
What is exotic about it? What is it called? Birmingham?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Not related to the Burning Man.
No.
Okay. Okay. Birmingham, Alabama.
I think most people know Birmingham for civil rights movement.
Okay.
And there are videos, famous videos of protesters who were protesting for civil rights.
This is like for slavery, right? Like on the slavery days or before?
After.
After, okay.
Yeah.
Civil rights.
For black civil rights.
Okay.
Most students, when they see videos about the civil rights movement, they see videos of people being hosed down with fire hoses in Birmingham, Alabama.
In Birmingham, Alabama.
And,
oh, wow.
Police dogs attacking people, too.
Okay.
So it's a city with a very racist history, a very powerful, violent history. And so I went there. I'm like, not sure what's going to happen. And there was a sense of apology for their history.
Okay.
But everyone was so sweet and nice.
So what was exotic about it?
It's just, it's so different from Miami. I mean, you have collard greens. You have
what is collard greens?
A very southern dish where it's like fried vegetables.
Oh, the fried tomato. Green tomato.
Is that it?
I don't know. I tried fried
okra. I remember having okra.
Okra is, but I tried fried green tomato. I think in somewhere in Texas, and I was like,
fried tomato is very good.
Who fries tomato? Fried green tomato.
Fried green tomato, yeah. I don't know, but it's just I think Tokyo is much more similar to Miami than Birmingham is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Asheville is not like Miami.
Asheville is not like
Miami. That's okay. Let's see what else. Andrew, that's so funny. Okay. I asked you about your hobbies. Are you married, single, or are you in a relationship?
I'm in a relationship. I have a girlfriend.
How long have you been with her? Jesus is counting.
4 months.
Oh. 4 months only?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
When I met her, it was very new.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
That was maybe like our 4th date.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are in a relationship. You don't have kids?
No.
No kids. Okay. Let's see. Do you remember your first kiss?
Yes.
How old were you? I hate my socks. I'm camera. Hopefully, you guys don't hate them. They go maybe with the pants like yours, but not with jeans. Anyway, you have pizza on them. Do you remember your first kiss?
Yeah, it was. I was 17.
17. Okay.
Yeah.
How old was she? Pedophile.
I don't think she was 18 yet, but she was older than me.
She was okay.
By a few months.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So that's okay. Tell me a little bit about it. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, I was very innocent and naive. So I was hanging out with this girl.
Okay.
Like 5 days in a row, and all of a sudden I was like, I should ask her to be my girlfriend.
Okay.
So I did. And then she kissed me.
Oh wow!
Like I wasn't sure, like if I should like give her a kiss goodbye or not.
Okay. When you were like going out, and then you wanted what do you mean kiss goodbye?
The day that I asked her to be my girlfriend.
Okay.
It was we were hanging out. It wasn't a date.
Yes.
And then I was just like, will you be my girlfriend? Yes. And then I was like, okay, cool. Like we're hanging out.
Okay.
And then when it's time to say goodbye, I think it was by my front door.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
On the front door.
And we kissed. Yeah.
In Boca.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
She was not It doesn't matter if she was pedophile. It's not a big deal. So you still in contact with her?
No. We were in a relationship for almost 2 years.
Okay.
And she was going to school far away, very far away. So we did long distance for like a year and a half.
Oof, out of the 2 years.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you.
Yeah. So it was that.
Okay.
And so that ended, and we haven't really been in touch since.
Oh,
We
really?
were very young. We were like 19.
But like even as friends, I don't mean like you text her. You have a girlfriend now, but like I mean,
right?
You have her on Instagram?
No.
You don't have her on Instagram?
No.
No Facebook, no Instagram, no nothing. You don't know anything about her.
Don't know anything.
She's married, has kids.
She probably does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So she kissed you.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Andrew, I never heard a story like this. Do you remember how it tastes like?
How it tastes?
Because last episode I did it with the University of Miami professor. He was my professor, Talis Yunis, and he was shocked that the first time he kissed a girl, he was like 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
He told me he was so shocked with the taste. He was not expecting it to taste like saliva.
That's funny.
So funny. Yeah.
That's so funny.
I could not laugh when he told me, so I was like holding myself. Like you can see the video.
That's funny.
Did you expect something about the taste?
No, and I don't recall.
Okay.
Any specific.
Were you
taste.
shocked? Like you went home, it went with you, like the kiss, like.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa, I did it!"
Wow, Jesus!
I was like, like I'm a man
Did your
now.
teeth hit?
No,
it was good. Okay.
I was surprised. If anything, not taste, but I was surprised by how soft someone else's lips were.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good kisser. She's a good kisser.
Yeah.
It's good that she's older than you. She has some experience.
Yeah. Definitely had an experience.
Okay. There is a couple of themes that three themes I try to keep in this episodes.
Okay.
The first one is I ask about the first kiss all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is I ask about people, because it's called Welcome to America, Habibi. So basically, how did you get to the United States? So were you born here? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Totally from the United States.
Okay.
My mother was from New York, not New York City, but like
New York, the state.
Rural New York.
Okay.
My father was from Miami.
Okay.
They met in Miami.
Your father is from Miami. Okay.
Yeah, Miami Shores.
Okay. They scammed him. Miami Shores. that's the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
They met in Miami and moved to Texas. So I was born in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
In Texas.
Maybe we should have done the whole episode with cowboy hats on.
Yeah. We wanted to do it in your office.
Well, I have the cowboy hats.
You have the cowboy. We can put them on if you want.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it. It's supposed to feel kind of high. It doesn't sit as low as like a baseball hat or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never had a hat. Okay, you can see it. That's good. Okay, thank you. Wow. I look good. Okay, so you are from the States. You didn't have the issue of coming to the States and getting a student visa, green card, and then get a citizenship.
But Texas, out of anywhere in the United States, is very proud of the fact that they used to be a different country.
Texas used to be a different country?
Yes. It's the only state that used to be a country unto itself. For less than a year. It was like 6 months, I think. I think it was like half a year. But
what is the country called?
Texas.
It was called Texas?
Yes.
So now these stories that they want to split from the United States is related to this?
There's a very strong... So Texas and Florida are the only two states that have an embassy in Washington, D.C., where it's technically Florida land in the embassy, and they serve orange juice, like Florida orange juice. Texas is the same thing. They have an embassy, and those two states...
In D.C.?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's Texas land.
Wait. There is a topic I want to talk about now you opened it. It's like this bullshit thing about oranges in Florida.
Yeah.
They are very expensive. Like, why are they telling us this is the state of oranges and they are very expensive? Like how can it be that the state of oranges and oranges are so expensive? I try to buy oranges from Publix.
Oh, yeah. Well,
4 pounds. 4 pounds.
Yeah, but go to Homestead, go to Redlands, to the farms, and buy them from the farm.
How much I need to drive?
Far.
Come on.
An hour, hour and a half.
Come on, an hour and a half is not a lot. They are so expensive. Anyway, they have embassies in DC.
Yeah.
Why do they have embassies?
I don't know
the
why
story.
Florida does. Texas, it makes sense. They're just so proud of themselves.
Wow.
And apparently, states were not allowed. Like, those were the first 2 states to do it,
and then they
said
stopped it.
no more. Yeah.
Okay.
So
embassy.
Yeah.
So there is an ambassador.
When I was a child in school, we would say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
And then we would say the Texas Pledge. Like,
so you remember Texas?
Yeah, yeah.
You lived there.
I was there until I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, interesting.
8. Yeah.
Where in Texas?
Between Fort Worth and Dallas.
Okay. And your style was influenced by that?
Maybe.
The suspenders were sitting in your brain.
Maybe.
And then you went to Ashfield and you saw the suspenders.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know. See, I'm learning a lot of things. So that's a second theme. The third theme is I have to ask you this question. Do you know which industry has like the highest or second highest rate of suicide in the States?
I feel like I should know this. Wait, give me a second.
Yeah, maybe you should, maybe you don't. Don't be very harsh on yourself.
I feel like I'm highly. I feel like I've heard this statistic before. I have 2 guesses. And
okay, go ahead. Try them.
First would be comedians.
Comedians?
Yeah. I feel like comedians always are depressed.
The good comedians commit suicide, actually.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of good comedians commit suicide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second would be nurses.
Really?
But I feel like it's something to do with the medical industry or something to do with like high pressure.
It is so sad you say this. It is construction.
Construction. Highest rate of suicide.
Maybe first or second in the between. Sorry, I should have qualified this. Between men.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that would have given you a better hand. Yes. So that's a part of.
I know high-end chefs also.
What's that?
Michelin star chefs have a very high rate of suicide also.
Really? Because
a lot
of the high pressure
on themselves. Yeah.
Of giving good food and then they got pressurized
and keeping their status.
Yes.
Because it's a status you can lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you have one stupid sous chef, he can mess up everything for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is construction.
Wow.
And a lot of construction companies are raising awareness about it. Coastal, where you used to work, because I don't work there anymore, I heard that they are also doing a lot of awareness. A lot of other construction companies in the States are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's a very lonely industry, I think. The men are always yelling at each other on the job site.
Yeah.
And then as a man, you go back home, you don't want to tell your wife that another stupid man told you something bad on the job site. Unfortunately, it is a big thing.
Wow.
I hope if my channel grows, I can keep raising awareness, because even though I stopped liking construction after working in it for 7 years, it is still part of my life. You know, I work in construction so much, and now with construction technology, I still work with construction people. So it's very close to my heart. Interesting. You didn't know that?
I did not. I had no idea.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Why do you think it makes sense?
I think any time that for your work or for a large portion of your day, you have to play a role, you know, and like
I want to hear your take on this. What do you mean? What do you mean by play a role?
There's a very masculine energy that happens in construction sites.
Okay.
And people say it drives performance. People say it drives, it has positive things. But as people, as men, we don't just have one face to ourselves, not just one mask.
Okay.
I feel like there's a persona that you can put on that is, I don't even want to call it like hyper masculine, but there's a type of persona of the construction worker that
Yes.
you can feel false if you're not leaning into being vulnerable or emotional or
I
other
agree
things
with
that
you.
are natural for humans.
Yes. I know what you mean. I have because I worked on job sites for like 6 good years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
One reason I didn't want to work in construction was working on job sites. Because first of all, and I feel so bad to say this, but I always like to say what I think I'm feeling comfortable with. First of all, it is not very intellectually challenging.
Yeah.
Okay. Working on job sites, you don't need to. Okay. The second thing, for me, I didn't. That's why I'm saying why I didn't like it. I like a lot of engineering. I like to solve problems. On the job site, I felt that I was solving repetitive problems that happened on the different job site, the same problem. We were solving the same problem. And my boss is being yelled at by his boss. And his boss is being yelled at by his boss. And if this chain of people yelling at each other and throwing their garbage on the last person, the poor guy who works or the girl works with their hand is the people who are taking the shit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that was like, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, why are we always yelling at each other? I don't want to do this. I want to work in something that is less yelling at each other.
Yeah.
So the companies I worked at in the beginning, is my head still good?
Yeah.
I have never worn a hat like this. In the beginning, too much yelling, Andrew. Everybody's yelling at each other.
Yeah.
When you go to a fancier companies, it's less, but it's still there, you know? Like, it's so heavy. And I think a problem on a job site, the mistake is very expensive. That's why people are always yelling. They think that if you yell, we worry about making the mistake.
Yeah.
And then you see the mistake is smaller.
Yeah.
But eventually this mistake will happen because like there isn't a lot of planning. But again, I think
it's like there's a lot at stake, but there's also a lot at stake in law. And you see I think the law profession, because women have integrated well into the profession, and there's definitely less of a gender imbalance.
Oh, that's for sure.
In law, amongst judges, amongst lawyers, all that. I feel like that maybe is going to be part of the solution is more
bringing women in construction. You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like I am being sexist, but like standing in the sun for 8-9 hours.
The manual labor aspect of it.
Yes, that
is exclusive.
So, of course. And there is obviously a very important distinction to make. Like construction management is something, but construction operations. I'm talking mainly in construction operations.
Yeah.
In construction management, like, women are doing even better than that. But in construction operations, you need like assistant superintendent, these people, foremen, people who work with their hands.
Yeah.
This is where most of the hitting is being. Because again, they are in the sun all day.
Yeah.
They are angry all day. They didn't eat well.
Yeah.
And what also pisses me off a lot, the number of hours they work. And they think they need to work them.
Yeah.
But most of the time, they are just there to show that they are. There is a culture in construction where, like, I have to be there because my boss is still there. You see.
Yeah.
Another thing that I hated a lot in construction, but again, hopefully I can raise awareness of this over the years. But there is something that some companies are saying that if you talk to a construction guy or a girl and you ask them how are you, and they say I'm good. Don't stop there because most probably they are not good. Try to be a medium for them to open up on their problems on the construction side. Because again, it's a big problem. And for every 4 people retiring, there's only 1 person coming in construction. So that's also a scary statistic.
Right.
That's why construction cost is going up because they need to pay more people to stay, and it's a little bit tough. It's not that I'm running out of questions, but I don't want to force questions. A last question, which I usually keep to the end. You touched a little bit about it, and it is like relationships and cultivating relationships. Do you have any examples that you can? For me, this is a very intimate, very important topic for me as my life story. You see. But in your opinion, what do you think about relationships, cultivating relationships in the work, outside of the work, in general, in life? How do you approach that?
Yeah.
This will be our last question.
I mean,
because it will be 2 hours sitting here.
Okay.
Believe this shit?
Wow. Yeah. I think relationships are the most important thing in most people's lives.
Okay.
You ask people on their deathbed what's important to them. It's always down to their relationships.
Okay.
It's what most of our actions are based around.
Sure.
People wouldn't want nice cars if cars didn't affect your social status in your relationships.
Yeah.
Or phones or whatever.
Sure.
You know. I just feel like a lot of people pursue things without realizing what they're pursuing is related to the relationships in their lives. So for me, I'm doing a lot of work right now of trying to be more intentional about my relationships, professionally, interpersonally, romantically, with my family, all of that.
Like what?
I'm going to therapy.
Okay.
And I have been for, this will be my 3rd year.
Okay.
And that, I think, has been a huge investment of my time and money and energy. But it's something that I think is making me better at my work.
Okay.
At being a good person and friend and family member.
Yeah.
I read a lot about philosophy, religion, but all of it I feel like is feeding into my ability to like have good relationships with people.
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like it's fundamental.
Yeah.
And then to get more into the work aspect of it, I mean, I've had so many good relationships. I'm relatively young, but I feel like I've been in a position where I've had relationships up with mentors, relationships sideways with peers, and relationships, downwards with people that I'm mentoring and teaching.
Yeah.
And all of that is, if you can have all three, that's the best. I mean, when you're young, it's really hard to find instances unless you have like a little sibling.
Yeah.
Instances where you can cultivate.
Why do you need the 3 at the same time?
I think it's most fulfilling to have the 3.
Okay.
It's like part of being a well-rounded person who spends time outside and spends time thinking and all that. Like, I think it's just you learn.
You learn from mentoring other people.
And from being mentored and from having peers.
Peers, yeah.
I think all 3.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I believe so much in relationships. I think people change your life. Like, people make you and people break you.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I have a huge emphasis. Like, I have my personal CRM, like I have a software where I manage my network. Like, I invest a lot in this. Like, I have a person who goes into my network every 3 months, cleans it up, updates it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because I believe people change my life. Like, if you know how I met, let's say, Patrick Murphy, it's crazy. I was in a place and I talked to a lady and told her that she has a nice ring and like a big rock, and her husband has good taste for stones.
Yeah.
And then we talked for like 40 minutes, and then she introduced me to Patrick Murphy. You see, so I think relationships are very important. That's good.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's why you're doing this.
Yeah. Yes, tell me. Yes, exactly.
It's like I feel like
people ask me actually why I'm doing this, but go ahead. I will tell you what.
You're a great storyteller.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're good at getting stories out of people too.
Okay.
And I feel like I also have an intuition for stories.
Okay.
And I can pick out very good stories from family or friends, and both of us are always constantly regurgitating stories from others too. We know the funniest ones, and so we pick them. Share them with people that we think are going to really like this one.
Yeah, definitely.
So I feel like relationships are all about stories too.
Stories.
Yeah.
Stories are very important.
Yeah.
So like there's this book Sapiens, that talks about stories. Like, for example, like Christians believe in Jesus Christ, like it's a story, that lasted 2,000 years.
Yeah, there's some very
whoever gets born
stories.
now haven't seen any of that. They've just been told the story.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important of stories, yeah. But people ask me, why do I do this? And like they think that I'm trying to get some dollars from YouTube. And the main reason that I'm doing this is there's two reasons. First is building audience. This is very important to build audience and these days have online presence, in my opinion. But the second one is like meeting people and learn, like you and Gabby, for example, my best friend I interviewed. I know you guys, it's so tough. Like you don't know what's going in my mind. It's so tough. But when I'm interviewing somebody who I don't know, it is so easy because I don't need to think about how not to look fake.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to look fake or no, with you. I'm just worried about, okay, if I ask this, it will look fake. But yeah, that's the reason I'm meeting a lot of people who maybe I knew, but now I'm knowing a lot about them. Like I interviewed the professor from Palis Yunis, and he was my professor. I took 2 classes with him, but I never had the chance to know him on the personal side. And this guy, like, after having a PhD, now he's like going into the world of piano. I was like, what? He told me that there is people who do PhDs in piano studies. Like, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would have never thought about that. But that's why relationships are important. Like part of this also is relationships. I meet people, interesting people. We build connections. People change your life.
Yeah. I'm always looking for excuses.
What is this bag? Is your now bag also? Is it part of your style? You walk with it?
That's my father's. It's been sitting in our garage for like 20 years.
So you put it there just for or you walk with it?
I walk with it, yeah.
Oh, wow. Now you know who you remind me of? Robert. You met my friend Robert? Robert O'Donnell. He came to Rosetto events.
Yeah, I've met
the lawyer
at Rosetto. Yeah.
If you see Robert outside of Rosetto, is now like you becoming like exactly like this. I'm seeing Robert in you.
Yeah.
Robert doesn't leave the house except when you see him at Rosetto, only with suit, shoes like you, umbrella and those bags. He doesn't wear a hat, but sometimes he does actually, but not like these hats. Like he wears like hats, but smaller hats, not cowboy hat.
Yeah, living in downtown is also like I feel like I can be. I live very close to the courthouse.
Okay.
And so there's always lawyers around.
Yeah.
I feel like I look like a lawyer.
Yeah, with this bag. So you walk with it. You go. It's not like part of the decoration.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'll bring it just so
bring it so people can see. Billions of audience know what it is. I like this room. Huh?
Yeah, this is the setup. So you have to have
the umbrella. You have
an umbrella in Miami,
like Kingsman, and this table and this thing.
Yeah.
Wow. So it was your dad's.
Yeah.
What does your dad do for American Airlines?
Now he works for FPL, actually.
Now he works for FPL?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. But what did he do for American Airlines?
For both, he manages like software teams.
Oh, he's in software.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he was a pilot.
No.
You say American Airlines, blah, blah. He was always into software?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Studied engineering and then was almost always software.
Wow.
Yeah.
He picked it up in the right days.
Yeah.
Are coming late right now, people like me.
Yeah.
So much software.
Yeah.
Man, and software business, Jesus Christ. Like a village. Now I appreciate every app I use. Like I use stupid apps and people would complain about bugs. No, it's totally fine.
Yeah, when
I know what goes to these. We have a town now in Toggle. Like a town of people.
Yeah.
32 people working on a software, and then the user tells you, "Oh, you click the button here."
Yeah.
You would be shocked.
People, I feel like there's always that curve of people. It's like a bell curve, or it's like the amount of confidence that you have in your ability to how skilled you are at something. It's like when you're learning a sport or learning how to sew or something. It's like when you're just like 10% of what an expert actually is.
Yes,
your confidence is very high.
Very high.
You think you're an expert.
Yes.
And then as you learn how complicated the field actually is, it
starts going down. The confidence, you mean?
Yeah, your confidence.
Okay.
And it's only when you become like 10,000 hour, like real expert that it goes back up.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting graph.
But I found this with architecture too, where when you're halfway through school, you start to become really pessimistic. Because you're developing the ability to critique
Uh-huh.
the built environment like you never have before.
Okay.
So-
even halfway to school.
Yeah.
It's
halfway through
natural
school.
that you build this thing.
Yeah.
You think every student builds this ability to critique?
Most of my
It's
friends
just
have
natural.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, where you get very dissatisfied. You see so many buildings look ugly.
Yeah.
Just like, this is shit. Like, it should have been done like my favorite architect likes to do. And then,
Uh-huh.
hopefully, for most people, this is what I've found, is your appreciation level starts to go back up because you realize how difficult it is to get anything built ever.
Yeah.
And the same thing that you're talking about with apps. Like, you're like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, there's an error. I know how many fucking errors like, you always try to solve.
The problem with software is you cannot see it.
Yeah.
So this is the big difference for me between software and construction. It's literally the same. You are building something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Software though is like a baby. It keeps growing, and you have to keep maintaining it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, buildings you keep maintaining them, but when you are maintaining them, they don't change.
Mm-hmm.
Software, you maintain it, it changes.
Yeah.
Because the user wants something else, and you add a new feature, you remove a feature. So software changes, buildings don't.
Yeah.
But the problem with software, for me, when I started in software, these things hurt the head, make it itchy. No, I can keep it, but it becomes itchy.
Yeah.
The problem with software is when you are building it, you cannot see it. So, for example, if you you are building a building and you're halfway and all your team fucked up, and then you have to like liquidate the company, somebody else can come by and they see something there. It's physical. In a software, if somebody wants to come after you, you cannot see anything. It's a piece of code.
Yeah.
It is so expensive to look into how the code is talking to each other in the first place.
Yeah.
And you cannot see it. People from the outside who don't know the code, the tool doesn't function.
Bullshit too. Vaporware is a word. Vaporware? You know, vaporware?
No.
It's like when you announce you're doing this big project and you say it's coming, and then maybe it's like a game that you're putting out or a new version of Windows or whatever it is, and people say, "Oh, it was vaporware. It was never, like it was promised, but they weren't actually working on it behind the scenes."
Oh, really? Yeah, that happens a lot for sure.
There's not that many vapor buildings.
There's no, because you see it.
Yeah.
You see, that's the difference. That's a big difference. But in terms of like how much effort it takes, every time you are releasing an update, you have to go through a cycle of QA, QC, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I would have never thought how simple it is to build a takeoff tool.
Mm-hmm.
You would think, oh, it's takeoff tool, you just throw. The psychology of the user is crazy. Like users build a relationship with the software, like, oh, you did this to me all the time, now you're not working. You see, like, he's he's yelling at his girlfriend that she always like made him a sandwich, and now she's like, it's crazy. Yeah. I was so shocked. There is psychology in software. Like the psychology of how a person interacts with the tool every time. Yeah. If you mess up the psychology, people will move away from your software.
Yeah. It's so jarring when the exit button was in the top left and
it used to do this. It used to do this. Yeah, but we made it better. No, but it used to do this. Sir, we made it better. Look, it's now here. They build an emotional connection with the software over time that it becomes part of like how they interact.
And it's an extension of your body, and it's assisting you doing something very complicated.
Yes.
So it's like trying to redesign like the inside of a car.
Yeah.
Like people are so used to exactly
what 100%.
You know?
Our biggest competitor in the market for Toggle is on-screen takeoff. Have been there since 1994, the same interface.
Yeah.
But because nobody built the takeoff tool, everybody in the world used on-screen takeoff, convinced them that this is a better tool.
Yeah.
Somebody from the outside will know it's a better tool. We built it as estimators, it's a better tool. But convince somebody who like made all their money for the last 20 years doing takeoff with that tool, it is so tough. And they also own the universities, so that's another thing. Now I understand why a lot of companies go into universities, like how Apple did. Every student had an Apple at one time, and then it's Dell, and then like AutoCAD, they give it for free for students.
free.
Like, why? Now I understand why.
Yeah.
Because you need to build this new generation of people who go to the workplace and say, "Oh, I use
Only know how to use that.
yes," and then the boss doesn't care how expensive it is.
Yeah.
Because they only need some people to get the work done.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, like, I grew so much in Toggle in the especially last year. I've been with the software with the company for 4.5 years now, but the last year I grew like 7 years.
You're figuring out the social.
Figuring out the hidden.
Yeah.
They call them the hidden forces of building a house. There is hidden forces of getting a software and getting into the market and selling it.
Yeah.
It's not only building the tool, because they can build the product, but how you price it, pricing model, how that affects the business model, how that affects your accounting team. For example, in Toggle, we charge, like, we used to charge people like by months, like by year, like yearly agreements.
Yeah.
But I used to, for example, look how stupid this is. Well, like, if you bought today, let's say you bought half of the week, half of the month, for 12 months, we charge you 12 months, and then your subscription ends end of the week.
Yeah.
Now I stopped all of this. If you start this week, you pay 12 months and 2 weeks. And I end every subscription at the end of the month.
Yeah.
It's crazy what it does to the accounting team. Like, they're like, it's much easier for them.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's small things, Andrew. I'm telling you, it's bananas. And that's why I now in next year, technically I have spent more time, equal time in software as much as construction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have never thought about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's
a transition.
Yeah, it was a transition, but it was very smooth.
Yeah.
Because, like, I went from civil engineering to industrial engineering to an MBA, and I work in construction, and then I went to
software related to construction.
But all happened by luck.
Yeah.
But it was smooth.
Yeah.
It was smooth. Like, I didn't have to transition to software. I was working at a construction company. We came up with the idea. We built software.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like with you. You're good at having those conversations with strangers about the ring that they're wearing.
Yeah.
And then things just happen.
That happened, exactly.
You know, it's not like you have to study a new skill for 2 years and then get good at the skill and then convince a new company to hire you. It's not.
Yeah, for sure.
You have people bet on you as a person.
That is true, but that's actually a very good conversation. They bet on you as a person, but part of you, this person, there's some value that is real you're bringing. As much as the storytelling is important, you having a real skill is as important.
Oh yeah, you have to bring some meal.
Some meal, exactly. At the end of the day, you have to make the meal.
You can't just.
But they have to rely on you, yes.
Yeah.
But I think people will pay you a lot of money if they can trust you and they can rely on you.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. Trust, and they be able to rely on you. Because people have a lot of problems, and if they can remove one of their problem and give it to you, and you always solve it for them, they will always pay you for it. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And being able to talk to strangers is a very important skill.
Yeah.
Very important skill. Like, the people who changed my life were total strangers.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about.
Total strangers. And that's why I asked the question of relationships, because different people have different experiences with it. But my mentor, talking about mentors, I didn't know him.
Yeah.
The University of Miami had set me a mentor through the university. She introduced me to this guy, and now he is my mentor. I don't talk to her anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, like, I met him by mistake, and he was Lebanese, lived all his life in the United States.
Wow.
And now he's like retired now. He's a veteran. I've been through a lot of shit in his life. But, like, this guy, out of nowhere. The lady who introduced me to Patrick Murphy, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
See? Anyway. It's good talking to you. That's a lot of time. Maybe this was my longest episode ever.
Wow.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how much it is. I don't know when we started, though.
Yeah. Well, it feels like, I always think about the conversation.
You never put it on the table like this, right? That's the rule?
What is it? It's
or like
There
this?
is- I think it's always this
Like
way
this.
down. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What were you saying?
Another story I always tell is the story of the interview that you had me do
Huh?
with Tom,
With Tom,
my boss at the construction company, because we sat down in a very normal restaurant.
Yes.
It was like booths that
First watch
is very good food, but it felt like a Chili's. I'm like,
yeah.
and I'd never seen The Office.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I always say this. Maybe you've heard me say it before.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this was a 30-person construction company or a 300-person construction.
Oh, you
company.
didn't?
No.
Oh, wow.
I glanced at the website.
I don't know how many people.
Yeah. So I made a bet. I was like, oh, this guy seems nice. I could work for him.
Yeah. I know. I remember.
And I know Johnny, and Johnny trusts him. So sure.
Yeah.
But it could have been a very tiny operation, and I didn't know that it was like the most high-end successful construction company in Florida. But it's just like, I always think back to that because at that point I was talking to strangers. Yeah,
you're talking to strangers. We know each other from school. But I was telling people today, like how I met you, which we cannot say on camera, like how we became close.
Yeah.
And then how you came to Coastal. Like I was sitting with Tom C, and he told me he wants somebody to do this.
Yeah.
Like I know someone. Yeah. And he was like, who is it? I was like, well, let me see if he accepts. I like these weird things that I do.
Yeah.
See, I like that I have this chance to do this weird thing. Who would think that in a 450 people construction company, you can do something like that? Yeah. You can convince the top guy, start a position.
It changed my life.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
A lot of people change our life. Anyway, I will put it there.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
Cheers.